So, good afternoon once again. In our last class, we're able to look at one of the tools we use in economics. So we're able to look at graph as a tool. And we saw what a graph is. That is a diagram that shows a functional relationship. We're able to see some of the qualities and some of the features of a graph, and then the importance of a good graph. But because of our time this afternoon, we are going to go straight to another tool, and that tool is pie charts. So we are talking about, or let me say charts. So it is all about charts. Now, when we are talking about charts, charts is seen to be the representation of information using different diagrams, pictures, and so on and so forth. But for the sake of this class, we are going to look at the two aspects of chart, which is pie chart and bar chart. But firstly, I'm going to take pie chart. Now, when we are talking about pie chart could be described as the representation of data, information in a circular form. That is, when we are talking about representation of information in a circular form, we are talking about the use of circle of any convenient size to represent data or to represent information. That is what a pie chart is. So pie chart is one of tools we use in economics, and it is also an important tool that we use in economics. So that is what a pie chart is all about. Now, when drawing or when we are trying to construct a pie chart, there are some rules that we have to follow. There are some rules that we have to follow when we want to construct a pie chart. The first thing is that when a table is given to us, we have to total the figure of the product or the figure of the value under consideration. That is the first thing we have to do. Let me quickly demonstrate what that one is talking about. So let's say, for instance, let's say we have a table that shows the scores of 3 students in economics. We have a table that shows the scores of 3 students in economics. Now, let's say, for instance, let's say the first column represents scores. So, and then the second represents the students. No, sorry. Let me use the first one to represent the student, while the second one will represent the score. So now, this is a table. Now we have the names. Okay, let me call this one names. Let me call it I'm very sorry. I want to so names or name of the student, and then here we have the scores. The scores of the student. Let's say we have the scores. Let's say the first person is daily. Daily, let's say 5 marks. 2G, let's say 15 marks. Now let's say WASSCE 10 marks. Now, the first thing we have to do is to get the total. That is the first thing. So we must get the total, that is 5 plus 15 plus 10. So that will give us 30. I think I'm very correct. Now, that is the first thing we have to do. Now, the second one asks us to, so after we must have gotten the score, the total score, now we can now proceed in calculating the degrees. So we can start calculating in degrees. Now, the first one for let's say the first one for WASSCE, daily. Now, daily will be equals to the score of daily over the total score, which is 30, multiplied by 360. So multiply by 360 divided by 1. Now, why do we know, why do we use 360? Now, 360, it is, the angle on a circle, the sum of angle of a circle, it is 360. And we said a pie chart simply means the representation of information using a circle. So the sum of the angles in a circle, it is equals to 360. Now, the next thing is 2. Now, this is 0. We can say 0 cancels 0. So 3 here, 1. 3 in 36, we have 12. So we have 12. 5 multiplied by 12, this should give us 60 degrees. So that is for daily. Now, that is the way we are going to do it for all the students. So, and those are the way, that is some of the rules that we have to follow when we are trying to draw. When we are trying to draw or to construct our pie chart. Now, if you look at that number 2 talks about work out the degree and percentage. The use of percentage might not be something that is compulsory, but the construction of degrees, it is what is most important. It is what is most important that we have to do. Number 3, draw a circle of convenient size. Convenient size, what we are talking, that is not going to be too big and it is not going to be too small. So we have to draw a circle of convenient size. Now, one thing you have to understand is that when you are trying, after calculating or after working the degrees, you have to divide a circle into different sectors. And then each sector will represent a particular information. Each sector will represent a particular information. So that is why we have to draw a circle of convenient size. A convenient size simply means not too small, not too big. Number 4 talks about that we have to divide the circle into sectors using your compass and protractor. Now, let me say this before I move further. In drawing a pie chart, you need your pencil, you need your ruler, you need your protractor, you need your compass. So those are the tools. So that particular circle has to be divided into different sectors. There is something, when you want to start drawing your circle, the first thing you have to do is to make a radius. The essence of making the radius, it is just to serve as where you are going to start the beginning of dividing about to as half of the diameter. A diameter is a line that divides circle into 2, but the half of it is what we refer to as radius. So that is, a radius is drawn from the center of the circle to any side of the circle, to any side is what we call a radius. A radius. So you have to draw a radius that will serve as dividing your your circle into sector. So after dividing your circle into sector, you have to add to that now. Sometime, let's say your where information cannot be inside, you have to prepare your key. There must be a preparation of key that will show what you have done or what you. Now, please need to demonstrate this. Permit me to demonstrate this. Let's say this is my circle. Let's say this is my circle. This is my circle. Now, the first thing is that I talk about a radius. Now, you can draw your radius in this way from the center of the circle. Now, let's say this information is this. Let's say it is made up of like one, let's say 120 degree. Now, let's say another information. Let's say this one is 80 degrees. A sum of a total of 8. This one represents 160 degree. So that is how the circle. What we are trying to is that you have solved has to be in a circle, but each sector represents a particular information. But in this situation, let's say we are unable to write the information. Now you can prepare your key. You can prepare your key under. You can prepare your key under. So you can prepare your key in this way. In this way. Now, let me assume that, let's say here we use this sign. So here we use this sign. Now, when you want to draw your key, so let's say we use here. Let's say this one represents daily score in economics. Let's say this one represents 2G scores in economics. Let's say this one represents WASSCE score in economics. So this is what the key is all about. Since you cannot write daily, 2G, and WASSCE there because of the circle is a bit small. So you can prepare that key and then use different sign that is to represent. And when you present it, so whosoever sees it, we know that what you are presenting it for 3 students. So that is that about this area. So, and that is how to construct a pie chart. So very straightforward and very interesting. Now, so I believe that one is clear. Now, if you look at this, you can see in my this one is talking about a value of most important export groups. We have cocoa, groundnut, and so on. Now that table, and then from the table we have another one in which the other table, it is where we calculate for degree, while the third one is the pie chart that represent. You can see that inside that pie chart, you see cocoa and then the number of degree, groundnut, and the degree. So that is how it should be. But in a case when your circle is too small, that is to accommodate all this information, so you have to prepare a key. So in that area. Now, quickly, let's now move to bar charts. Now, when we are talking about bar charts is made up of a rectangular shape, or let me simply say, bar chart simply means representation of information using bars. Representation of information using bars. That is just, it is as simple as that. So bar chart, there are about 3 types of bar chart. Number 1, we have what we call simple bar chart. Number 2, we have what we call component bar chart. Number 3, we have what we call multiple bar chart. Now, let us take them one after the other. What is simple bar chart? A simple bar chart is used when the data given are made up of just only one item or component. That is, let's say for instance now, the data given is made up of just only one component. The bar chart that we can use for it, it is what we call a simple bar chart. Let me quickly demonstrate that. Now, let us look at this. Now, let's say we have a table, the one I used the other time. Let's say we have a table with name, and then now let's say we have scores. Now, let's say we have a daily. Let me still use what I used the other time. Let's say daily has a 2. Let's say 2G. Let's say 2G has 3 marks. Let's say WASSCE has 4 marks. Now, this is a table. Now, we want to present this information using a simple bar chart. Now, because the first thing you have to understand is that this particular table comprises of just only one component. That is, the data there comprises of one item. And what is that item? That is the item, it is the score of 3 students. That is the scores of the 3 students in economics. Now, we want to present it in a simple bar chart. Now, you draw your graph like what we have done already. Now, sorry, just pardon me for that. Now, here we can use, like, we must have an appropriate scale. Let's say we use 2, and then we use 4. The highest is 4, the lowest is 2. Now, the first one is daily, we can use D. So daily has 2. So you draw your bar. This one represents daily. Now, second, we have 2G. 2G has a score of 3. So we can represent it with T. Now, WASSCE has a score of 4. So we can represent it with B. Now, if you look at this, this is what we call a simple bar chart. Now, what is then is that, number 1, the first thing you have to discover is that the width or the breadth of the bars are the same. And that is one of the key things when you are trying to draw a bar chart. You must make sure that the width or the breadth are the same. But the only thing is that the height of the bar cannot be the same, because the height of each bar represents a particular information. Now, if you look at Dele has a score of 2, which is the least score. And that is why we have the height of the first bar to be the smallest, the one that has the smallest height, followed by Bosse that has the highest, the highest score, which has the tallest from the bars. So the height of the bars, the height of each bar depends on the score or depends on the information each bar is representing. But the only thing is that, please, when you are trying to draw bar chart, make sure that the width or the breadth are the same. And then you must also make sure that the space between the first bar and the second bar, even the first bar, the space between the line, the vertical line and the first bar and the second bar, those equal. In economics, this aspect is very simple to pass and it is very simple to fail. Now, when the examiner wants to mark, the only thing the examiner usually look at is that how you construct your bar. Do you follow some rules? What about the bars? Your bars, are they having the same breadth? Do they have the space in between? Do you leave the same centimeter or the same meter in between the first bar and the second bar? So those are the things that you must take note when you are trying to draw simple bar chart. So I believe this is very clear. So that's simple bar chart. So let me clean this and let's go to now. The second one is component bar chart. Now, what is a component bar chart? A component bar chart, it is a diagram or a chart used when the data involved are 2 or more variables. That is when data involved are of 2 variables and sometimes more variables. Now, one thing you need to understand is that when you are drawing a component bar chart, so each section or each bar will be drawn, each item we have a component that is meaning that each bar is going to have like 2 components or 3 components. So that is why we said a component bar chart, it is used when the item or when the data involved are of 2 variables or more than 2 variables. Let me quickly demonstrate this also. Let me quickly demonstrate this also. Now, let us look at this table. Sorry. So let's say that is the name. Let me use N to represent name. Now, let's say we want to look at the score in, let's say, economics, and then in mathematics. And let's take, for instance, now, let's say we are having 2 students. Let's say we have Dele and Tunji. Now, maybe the score of Dele in economics is 2, why this is 3. Now, in a 2G score, let's say 2G score 3 here, and then let's say we have 1 here. Now, the first thing you have to do, it is the total. Now, what is the total? Now, if you want to draw, the essence of the total is that when you want to draw your chart, you'll be able to know the scale that you are going to use for it. Now, we have the least to be 1, and we have the highest to be 5. You can also pick a scale of 2, 2. Let's say we have 2. We have, sorry, that's not an appropriate scale, like what I said. When we have 2, we must have 4, and then we have 6. Now, the first thing we have to draw for Dele. Now, in economics, in both economics and mathematics, Dele has a total of 5 marks. You have a height of 5 marks for Dele. But in economics, what is the score of Dele? 2. Yes. So you have Dele, you have economics. So why this one represents mathematics? That is the first component. The first bar represents economics. So the second bar represents mathematics. So we have two components there. Now, we want to draw for 2G. 2G also has, okay. No, sorry, 2G, I think 2G has 4. Sorry, 2G has 4. So now 2G has a total of 4. Now, the first one, economics, represent 3, while the second one represents 1. So you have this, and also do this. That is a component bar chart. Now, for anyone that wants to check your work to understand what you are presenting, you are going to have a key, because you cannot write economics and math. So you can have your key somewhere around here. So now you divide it. Now, let's say you have this, and then you have this. Now, this one represents economics, while this one represents mathematics. So that is just a component bar chart. So the way you have to do is that when you are drawing a component, and then you use the total to know the height of the bar for each student, and then you define information represents each variable, and that is what that area is talking about. So I think this side is clear. Now the third tile, the number 3 tile of bar chart, it is what we call multiple bar chart. It is what we call multiple bar chart or group bar chart. We can call it multiple bar chart or group bar chart. Multiple bar chart is used when there are about 3 or more variables are given. When we have 3 or more variables given. So the best chart that we can use, it is what we refer to as multiple bar chart. Multiple bar chart is used when 3 or more variables are given. Multiple bar chart is the best one. Let me also demonstrate that. Let me also demonstrate. Let me demonstrate. Let's say N represent names. Let's say we have E here, represent economics. Let's say we have mathematics. Let's say we have government. Here, one thing you need to understand here is that there is no need of getting the total. You don't need total. So only what you need to do is just to go straight. Now, let's say this is I'm sorry. Daily 2G. Now, let's say in economics, daily score 2, 3, 1. Or, okay, here, let's say 2G score 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2. Now, it's still the same process. You draw your line. Now, the least is 1, the highest is 3. So we can pick this one, an interval of 1, 1. But each student, we have group of bars for himself. In under multiple bar chart or group bar chart, each student is going to have a group of bars for himself. Now, this is daily. In economics, you have a bar representing economics, 3 marks in mathematics, and 1 mark in 2G. 2G had 3 marks in economics. One mark in and 2 marks in government. So pardon me for that. So this represents 2G. Now, here you have to also represent it with different signs. Let's say this is the sign. You use this one for math. You use this one. So this represents economics. This represents, and this represents. You are also going to have your key. You're also going to have your key. Let me clean this. So you're also going to have your key. So, and the key to show or what is going to explain what you have presented. So you can have your key in this way. Divide it into 3. The first one represents economics. Second one represents mathematics. Third one represents government. So you will just write economics, mathematics, and then government. So that is that about chart. About multiple or group bar chart. So I think before we move on, please, if there is any question on this, may I hear you asking any question if you have any question here. So if you have any question here, please. Okay, so let's continue. Now, there is another tool that we use in economics. We call it arithmetic mean or mean, arithmetic mean or mean. So, mean, and it is generally known as average. So arithmetic mean or mean, it is generally known as average. So mean is the average of a series of figures or values. To obtain mean, it is by dividing the sum of these figures by the total number of the figures. So to get mean, the mean is we have to sum up the total number divided by the number of times those figures appear. That is what our mean is. Let me quickly demonstrate that. Let's say we want to find mean. Now, mean is the same thing as X bar. Please, we have to understand that. So, and it is, so mean is equals to the sum of number, the sum of figure given. That is the sum of X divided by N. That is just the formula when you are trying to calculate what mean is. So that is the sum of the number given to you divided by the number of times those numbers appear. Now, let's quickly look at this. We want to get mean of 2, 3, and 1. The first thing we have to do is to add it up. That is to get our mean. So to get our mean, it will be equals to 2 plus 3 plus 1. And we have just only 3 numbers divided by 3. So this will now be equals to, so our mean will be equals to 6 divided by 2. Oh, sorry. 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3, which is number divided by the number of time those figures or the values given occur. That is how. So I think we have done so far. So I will to get an assignment. So we can get an assignment and then we send it. Maybe we send it through the coordinator. So just determine the mean score of these figures. Determine the mean score of these figures. 5, 2. So that is what will be our assignment. So determine the main score of these figures or of these marks. So 3 students got that marks in economics. So just determine the main score, and then you can send it through your through the coordinator of this class. So I think that is that is what the main is all about. You can see, look at the example I give. Calculate the arithmetic mean if the scores below represent the marks of 8 students. And then we saw what we did, that is addition of everything, so which is equals to 144 over 8. Please don't mind me that 1 plus x raised to power n. Just don't mind that. So addition of the scores and then divided by the number of times. If you count the number of scores we have there, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is why we have over 8. And when you divide 144 by 8, what you are going to get is 18. Now, so let me quickly rush the advantages of arithmetic mean. Advantages of arithmetic mean. Number 1, it is very simple to calculate. Yes, mean is very simple to calculate. Only what you need